are these people?
My next thing is about this whole crypto market crash, which is shady as shit. Okay. Unusual Whales is a little bit of a weird account, but in this case, when it comes to the money, they got this one right. Look at this. This happened on yesterday, 7:30 in the morning. A new crypto account was opened yesterday morning on Friday. 30 minutes before Trump's announcement of 100% tariffs on China, it added a huge multi-million-dollar leveraged Bitcoin short position per YF, Yahoo Finance. The market dumped. The trader made a profit of $192 million in 2 hours, which certainly is unusual. All right. Should this be investigated? What? Stonks. Yes, stonks. All right. So what the hell's going on here? So I rely heavily on Michel deCryptadamus to tell me, because they've been fantastic at calling out all the corruption in the crypto market, and they really understand the score. Crypto markets have their largest mass liquidation event in history. This is how the crypto industry really makes its money, by mass liquidations of its customers who are trading with absurd amounts of leverage. Again, according to Coin Bureau, this was like the biggest drop in history. And you see all that sea of red. Binance, that's BNB, down 14% in a day. Bitcoin down almost 8%. Ripple dropped 21%. XRP. Solana 13 and change percent. A massive market correction, which then, of course, rippled over into the stock market, because the stock market is leveraged within Bitcoin. So when Bitcoin drops by 7.5%, the public Bitcoin holding companies all start to panic and their assets drop. So again, according to Michel, same thing. Someone put in that huge Bitcoin short position 30 minutes before Trump announced his new China tariffs and made almost $200 million in under an hour. See my post below for more on what's going to be an incredibly common new strategy for trading off insider government info. Right? So what's going on here? So back in April, Michel wrote an article on how to insider trade and influence people with tariffs, meaning that you leverage announcement of tariffs with changing of markets and purchase of crypto. And what it says here is that days where the stock market gains 10% on proclamations of a mad orange king are far more correlated with impending disaster than with strength. Right. And this again was from back in April 10th. So we're talking 5 months ago. Right. Ever since last week's big reveal of the nonsensical Trump tariff equation, remember that? Americans have been trying to come to grips with the fact that their nation's future prosperity, or lack thereof, seems to be wholly dependent on a series of increasingly unhinged proclamations emanating from the phone of an economically illiterate and extremely orange madman. It's a decidedly less than political ideal reality, that stands in stark contrast to the utopia of rational citizens making cool-headed and well-informed decisions that populates economists' erotic fantasies about how the country's economic affairs should be conducted. Right? Not since FDR as an American president attempted to affect anything, even in the ballpark of the kind of direct intervention in the nation's economy that Trump has been bungling his way through over the last few weeks. And again, that was from months ago. One gets the sense that Americans don't even know what to make of what's happening to them because there's nothing in history to compare it to. Even FDR makes for an extremely poor comparison. Sure, he did a lot of interventionist and vaguely central planning stuff, but he did those things after convincing Congress to pass laws that gave him the power to do them, which is, how the American Constitution says the president's supposed to do this kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Trump, on the other hand, showed up to the free market drunk, punched Congress's girlfriend in the tits, and proceeded to throw a series of January 6th gang signs before grabbing the steering wheel of the steamroller of American free enterprise and using it to execute a series of highly performative donuts directly on top of your stepmom's flower beds. Steamroller donuts, each one cheered on more enthusiastically than the last by a cavalcade of Botox ghouls from Fox News and OAN and Newsmax, and the entire consortium of Tenet Media connected podcasts, caught red-handed taking millions of dollars from Russian intelligence less than a year ago. That was the whole Tim Pool thing. But Tim Pool, that spun a little weird. It wasn't a Russian thing as I was, but they weren't effective in their narrative. They were just trying to buy off saying that they influenced Tim Pool. I think it was more to discredit Tim Pool than to actually buy influence. It's a trajectory of government takeover that's unrecognizable to the American electorate, though I have a bad feeling that anyone who lived through the attempt of a populist strongman like Robert Mugabe, Viktor Orban, or especially Hugo Chavez to place themselves at the center of a new and improved centrally planned economy would feel the shock of recognition. This is not a playbook that hasn't been used before. American economic catastrophes aren't rare. A big one usually rears its monstrous head at least every decade or two. But what's different this time is that in the before times, America's catastrophes were all bottoms-up, grassroots affairs, albeit ones shaped by bad incentives dispensed from above. They emerged from herd behavior, the madness of crowds, if you will. Whereas if and when this catastrophe hits, will be an entirely top-down affair, which floweth from a single orange mind. I disagree with that too. Which is not to say that catastrophes brought on by the madness of crowds are in some way less serious. They are. America being a capitalist society built on a population whose gene pool is overflowing with the DNA of ancestors who fell for a dubious 18th century get-rich-quick scheme called subsistence farming in the New World, is in a lot of ways susceptible to them. What usually happen, often quite large subset of the population manages to hypnotize itself with whatever the latest and greatest model of get-rich-quick scheme happens to be at the time. .coms and McMansions. Yeah, remember those? Tesla and crypto. Now it's AI. Right? They're just jumping from fad to fad. But whether those catastrophes were worse or not is beside the point. Being driven into the jaws of economic catastrophe by a single deeply and flawed orange mind, again, it's not, it's by the people behind that orange mind, is new to the American experience. Again, he's not thinking this on his own. He's got people putting this shit in his head. Come on, Michel. There's never been an American equivalent Mad King, George, or Caligula, because America somewhat famously doesn't have kings or emperors. Again, this was before all the no kings rallies nonsense and the AstroTurf that's been happening since, which, by the way, is a total DNC get out the vote thing. They're doing another one next Saturday on the 18th, and I would advise everybody,
I'm sure AOC honestly, and Bernie's all going to be there.
Right. Like, it's
Elizabeth
just all
Warren
Democrats.
will make an appearance.
All right. It's a get out the vote effort for Democrats to try to fearmonger their base and fearmonger independence.
Going to be a bunch of those inflatable frogs.
Right. And it will accomplish, sadly, nothing. But it will give the right wing the meat to potentially ramp up attacks and then claim that the crowds were violent. All right. But also to, use this, it's us against them and they're up against us. And why are they trying to stop us? It's just narrative. The whole thing sets up their narrative, and us against them is exactly what they want. Okay. One would be hard-pressed to name any point in the timeline of American history where a single orange-faced jackass with a comb-over could burn down all the world's major financial markets simultaneously. His name was Joe Biden. I disagree with that 100%. That's wrong. No longer. Every time Donald calls Printer Girl into his office to take some rage tweet dictation, the Dow, NASDAQ, New York Stock Exchange, FTSE, Nikkei, Hang Seng, DAX, and more cower with fear. And I don't think they cower with fear. I disagree with that too. I think they're loving this because they know he's going to end up pro-business in the end, pro-America in the end, which they all are. And they're going to make money on the way up and down with the fees. What they're going to hurt, what he wants to do is hurt China. So those who have investments in China are shitting their pants. But most of them aren't. But the point here is to get to the thing about tariffs, because he announced 100% tariffs on China this week, and that's what caused the market to panic and a massive sell-off to happen. Tariffs is, as Mann reminds us, Donald Trump's favorite word in the English language. Again, it's not his favorite word. It's Howard Lutnick's favorite word. It's not his plan. It's Lutnick's. He's publicly called it the most beautiful word too many times to count because he's a moron. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, I guess. Well, it's making him wealthy, so it is beautiful to him. I, for one, can think of an incredible number of words more beautiful than tariffs, as can I. But tariffs is not a word without its merits. As far as magic words go, tariffs is actually quite malleable. Its awesome market-moving power can be tempered and or redirected just by changing up the words placed around it. For instance, again, if Trump had tweeted something like this, Chairman G can suck my dick because America is going to make the biggest tariffs ever, hashtag MAGA, the bigliest, then investors around the world will quite reasonably start worrying that an orange madman is about to hurl the world's second largest economy into a trade war against the world's largest economy, and global markets would crash. If, on the other hand, he rage tweets some weak sauce excuse for temporarily postponing those same bigliest tariffs ever, investors will assume that the trade war has been called off and prices will hopefully go back up to roughly where they were before the now postponed bigliest tariffs ever were announced. And again, somebody makes money on the way up and down throughout that. Obviously,
we do a little trolling. It's called we do a little trolling.
Right? Exactly. And he would also say, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That's really nice. Thank you.
Right. So obviously, if you know with certainty that the price of a thing is about to go up or down, you can make money by buying that thing, waiting a bit, and then selling it to someone at the new and higher price. How much money you can make depends mostly on the size of the market. Bigger markets with more participants present more opportunities to make trades happen. And what's the biggest, most liquid market in the world? America's financial markets are so massive and so liquid that you can make millions of dollars just by knowing that the price of a single company's stock is going to go up by 5% in the next 30 minutes. Now imagine how much money you could make if you knew that the same share price of every single publicly traded American corporation was about to go up by 5% in the next 30 minutes. Put all that stuff together, and this is the picture that emerges as of April. Anyone who knows the stock price of a company is about to go up or down can make a lot of money. Or a crypto, by the way. Anyone who knows that the stock price of every company in the United States is about to go up or down can make an almost unlimited amount of money. Trump's mean tweets have the power to make the stock price of every company in America go up or down anytime he wants to. He also can single out a specific company and make it go up or down anytime he wants to, and he's done that before. Anyone who knows what Trump's next mean tweet will say about tariffs knows when stock prices of every company in America will go up or down. That's what just happened to cause the market to crash, but someone cashed out $200 million within 30 minutes of that happening. That's what was being described here. And it didn't happen through stock. It happened through crypto, which is just another way for the Trump admin to launder money at this point. Now, what's really interesting is I also brought this from Cointelgraph, which points out that 3 Bitcoin charts to watch after the price fell from over 125,000 to 103,000. It was, again, a 7 or 8% correction, more than that. All right, but it's already back to 111 or 112,000. But what I wanted to show was that the price had already rebounded by 8.5%. All right, but it still remains down 11% from its record high set earlier in the week. 103,000 is still insanely high. Insanely high. And it's only going to go up from here. The speculation is that it's going to go nowhere but up from here, actually. Can Bitcoin's recovery extend further? 3 charts indicate favorable technical conditions for a potential rally in the coming days or weeks. All right, that the trend was unfazed by a $5.3 billion wipeout. If they can absorb that and just move on, that's bad for everybody else because they're not going to be able to sustain, but the institutional investors will. It's dangerous. And remember, our friend Golden Monarch, who's probably losing his mind in the stream, he just showed up. Welcome, my brother OMB. All right, that Bitcoin is a Zionist manipulation project. Okay, that it's all fake and it's all manipulation at this point. And this entire run up and the scarcity and all of it is, I don't want to call it a Ponzi, though we have in the past, because a Ponzi is them trying to sell you on something. But here they're using hype to sell you. And they're not directly promising returns, but they're using their little hype monsters like that Valentina Gomez and Max Kaiser and their little dancing clowns, Dominic Bay, to tell you how great their returns are. And it's like Matthew Lesko, free money to pay your bills. Like, they have an infrastructure. So yes, I believe that all the money that's put into Bitcoin is sucked out and put into some other investment vehicle. It doesn't just sit there. But you have to tie up your money while it sits there. And you get no use of that money and no return on that money until you sell. To me, it's the worst kind of investment there is. And it's not really an investment.
Have a good time with your Bitcoin.
Though some have bought low.
And everything else that you're playing with.
Some have bought low and sold high. All right. And they've made money out of it. And the ones who have done the best are the ones that converted a crypto wallet into actual real world property, like Charlie Robinson, that leveraged his Bitcoin to actually buy the activist post and purchased a media entity, which was at one point on the top 100 list of banned websites, and reignited it. Right. Delio Nostrum, this is why we need a moneyless system. Just saying. Agreed. All right. They can fill the bubbles that pop with the push of a button now. We already kissed reality goodbye a while ago, and sounds like Michel has been studying up and really sees what's happening, and that they're really just using crypto to introduce digital currency, which is going to eliminate, physical cash and allow them to become gatekeepers and control where your wallet will work and where it won't. And of course, in order to activate your wallet, you'll need to have a smartphone with an app on it that they can track, and they can tell you exactly where your wallet has been and what you can and can't buy. Potentially. Really scary. So we're not going to get remonetized. You know what? YouTube likes crypto, but we're not monetized on YouTube. So if you're able to support, try to do it a different way. Cash App, $, Indie News Network, co-fi.com/Indie News Network. You go to paypal.me/Indie News Network, that indienewsnow.com, where we are live right now. There is a section to watch live, and we are live. Whenever INN's live, you can watch us there. We're also live over at indiemediatoday.com over on Substack. Welcome to everybody that's over there hanging out in chat. I see Cindy over at the Revolution Continues. Good to see you. And INNnewsletter.com. Again, we're going to be there live later for our React show, which is boats smashing into other boats. Support independent media because we need it more than ever. I love you all. We'll see you soon, fam.
Bye. Have a great time.
Hasta la vista, baby. I'll be back.
No! We just fucking lost the stream!
Best decision, such an awful place. Is that what you want me to say? You prove it's possible to sleep for days, and I still think you're right here awake. The cost of living isn't much to make, but God, it's so